Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's 9 o'clock on Friday, or pretty close to it. And you are watching me, Deb Burton, Executive Director of RI Elder Info and the host of the weekly show Friday Friends, where for 6+ years now, I've been bringing you information that you or someone you know needs to know about. So make sure you hit the like button, the share button, the bells, the whistles, because today I'm talking about something that I have been getting a lot of calls on in the last, I'd say, week to 10 days. So I know it's something that is really pressing out there in the community. And I want to share some information with you so that you can have some clarity as you're looking after yourself or your loved one, and that you can plan for. So again, make sure you hit the like button, the share button, all those social media cues that say, hey, check this out, because we're going to talk about what happens as far as coverage with Medicare and Medicaid after you get out of the hospital and you go for some rehab. Now, as you all know, we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we could not do this without the support of our donors, our sponsors, our friends, everyone. So big shout out to 321 Media, United Healthcare, as well as CareForth. They are our premier sponsor for Friday Friends. Here's a message from CareForth.
Caregiving, first of all, is the most selfless act. You're just on 24/7. In order to do all that, you need someone to make sure that you, as the caregiver, are taking care of yourself. And nobody cares for your family like you do. You love them. The whole program is amazing to get paid for something that you would do even if you weren't getting paid. You're not just one person, but you have a whole team behind you, and we're all here to help.
You know, as I was getting ready to have this conversation with you today, I was thinking, what is it about this particular week in July that my phone starts ringing off the hook with really similar questions? And I had to think about it. So today, as we're recording this, it's July 24th. So about 20 days after the 4th of July. And what happens on the 4th of July? A lot of us get together. We are in environments that maybe we were not familiar with. We ate things that maybe we don't eat on a regular, given week, because, we don't eat hamburgers and hot dogs and potato salad and potato chips and soda every day. Or maybe we do, but that's probably not our best choice. So for some individuals, when you change that diet, you maybe see your blood pressure go up, or maybe you trip and fall. You end up going to the hospital right after the 4th of July. So when you're in the hospital, after a medical event in general, if you are admitted, not held for observation, but admitted 3 midnights, so admitted for 3 midnights, your head in a hospital bed, Medicare will cover the cost of that hospital stay. Now, if you're sick enough to have been admitted to the hospital for 3 days, then it's a good bet that there may be something going on that requires you to get some additional rehabilitation. And so the discharge planner will come into the hospital, into your hospital room, and say, here's a stack of a list of rehab facilities. Pick which one you want to go to. And we've talked about how to pick in previous Friday Friends, so I can try to put a link to those in the comments afterwards. But you pick the facility that you'd like to go to for rehab. You go to the rehab and you work really hard and you get better, but maybe you're not as good as you think you could get, or maybe this is as good as it's going to get. So those are some very different things. So Medicare will cover that rehabilitation in that rehab facility or in the rehab unit of a nursing home, as long as you're continuing to make progress, as in you have not refused to do physical therapy 3 days in a row, but you keep making good progress, okay, up to 100 days, and at day 21, there will be a copay. Now, whatever kind of insurance you have is, that determines what your daily copay is. So let me just recap just for clarity, or in case you joined us a little late. You're having a great time on the 4th of July, eating stuff you probably shouldn't. You have a medical event, you end up in the hospital, you're in the hospital for 3 days, maybe longer. You go out to a rehab facility. That rehab facility, hospital stay, that's going to be covered under your Medicare as long as you're continuing to make progress. At day 21, there is a copay. Usually, not exact, you want to check with your insurance company, but $200 to $300 per day. Up to day 100. At day 100, Medicare will stop covering. Okay. Doesn't matter whether or not you were or were not making successful progress. Most people are looking at discharge by day 20. So if you notice, I cited the date. It's the 24th. You have a medical event on the 4th of July. You go into the rehab. A lot of folks right now are calling because their loved one or themselves are getting ready to discharge from the rehab facility, and they're not entirely comfortable going home. Maybe it's been a stroke. It's been an accident that, involved a severe injury to a leg, or someone has fallen and, broken their arms, things like that. And the individual doesn't really feel like they're able to return home. And so when you get notified by the discharge planner of the rehab facility that your insurance is going to stop coverage, you can appeal that decision to your insurance company. They may or may not agree. You want to be able to show that you're continuing to make progress, but understand at day 21, regardless, there's going to be a copay, a couple $100, $200, $300, depending, okay? Which is what brings us to the date today. A lot of times folks are really concerned because they're like, I can't walk up the stairs to get into my house. I can't take care of myself. So what do I do now? So insurance has stopped covering. You're in that rehab unit and you're saying, I'm not comfortable going home. I'm not going to be safe going home. Most rehab facilities, they're lovely folks. They will say, we understand. We can see, where you're at as far as your progress, your ability to take care of yourself. So let's have a conversation. You can stay, but what will be your payer source? How will we get paid? Because remember, there is business involved in the healthcare system. And so one of the things to be aware of is that when you're staying in that facility, are you going to pay privately? Now, give or take, it's about $15,500 per month. That's according to Care Scout, which has usually had some pretty accurate figures around that. $550 a day, basically. And a lot of times folks are like, I have some money, I don't have that much money. Okay. So then you may want to consider whether or not, do you have long-term care insurance? That might help offset the coverage. If you need to stay in the facility may be able to help you complete the Medicaid application. Remember, Medicare, we care for our aging and our disabled, and it is for acute medical needs. Medicaid is based on income and assets. And the state has its own determination as to who qualifies. Generally speaking, for a single individual, it is liquid assets of $4,000 or less and income under roughly $2,300 if you live in the community. It's a little different numbers for individuals who are going to be residing in a nursing home. But you can complete that Medicaid application, but you want to understand the facility is not obligated to help you fill out that Medicaid application. It is your responsibility to make sure that all of the necessary documents needed to do that application are included in your application when it gets sent in. So you want to outreach to family members, make sure that you have that health and financial power of attorney in place so that somebody can go and get the information necessary to do that Medicaid application so that you can continue to remain in the facility. Now, say, for example, you have something that maybe you have too much money in the bank. You would be able to obviously pay privately for that facility. But there may be more money in your bank account that maybe you wanted to protect those assets. If that's the case, then you would want to call an elder care attorney, somebody who specializes in that, to have a conversation. Now, here at RI Elder Info, we cannot offer you medical, legal, financial, estate planning advice. We cannot do any of that. If you do need to reach out to an elder law attorney, the Rhode Island Bar Association can give you a referral to find someone who could help you, okay? But understand that if you do need to stay, that's okay. But you want to make sure that you're planning ahead and that you have folks there who can help you complete the necessary documents. Now, if you're able to return home, okay, but you still need help, the discharge planner at the rehab facility should be setting up some home care for you. A nurse to come out and visit, maybe some PT, some OT, maybe a CNA. But it's really important that you understand that's not permanent and ongoing because Medicare does not cover long-term care, does not cover ongoing care. So for yourself or for your loved one, maybe they've had a massive stroke and they're going to come home because they're set, they want to come home. Okay, there are ways to get your house modified, and I've talked about that in other Friday Friends, and you can certainly find that information on our website. There are different resources, but you want to make sure that you have a good, solid plan with your family, with your friends, with your circle of support in order to be able to go home and remain safe. Now, if you are someone who has been in a facility long-term, you've seen this play out, you went to the hospital, you weren't as successful as you had hoped with rehab, you have remained in the facility, paying for it either privately or with Medicaid or long-term care insurance, and something transpires and the facility feels like this is no longer a good fit for you. The facility needs to give you what is called a 30-day notice, just as though you were renting an apartment. Same idea. You have a right to appeal that. Maybe you were having a bad day. Maybe, some things happen and you were just having a rough time. There are options to try to resolve that. The long-term care ombudsman can help you with that. But it is your right to live in a facility where you feel safe and cared for and make that environment as homey as is possible in the space allowed, and to be treated with dignity and respect. Now, I know I've just given you a whole lot of information. What I'm seeing is folks calling because they're really not sure, mom, dad, their loved one, their spouse. What happens when insurance says they're stopping the payment? Appeal. Understand, if you lose that appeal, there is that time, if it's a day, 2 days, 3 days that it took for the insurance company to decide, yes, you won the appeal or not, there is a bill occurring. Obviously, if the insurance is approves, great. The insurance is picking up those days, but you may be responsible for the cost if the insurance company stays set in their ways. So it's not that the nursing home is, trying to throw you out or steal your money or some of the things that I hear people say. It is part of it being a business. It is part of our own responsibility to really think about this and plan. And then, sometimes we recognize things happen, unexpected things. And it tends to time out over the years that I get a lot of calls in this particular week with this scenario that something happened around the 4th of July medically. Someone went into the hospital, they're in rehab, and now they're trying to figure out, how does this all work? How does this get paid for? So I thought, let me come on, have a conversation with my friends here, share this information so that you can make informed decisions as you go forward. We are all in this together. I am really glad that you have joined me. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you have time, if your friends, your family, anyone you know is a veteran, please make sure that you come out to our Calling All Veterans Day event. It's going to be on Saturday, August 15th. It's going to be at the CB Museum and Memorial Park outside. It's at 21 Iafrady Way in North Kingstown by Rhode Island directions. In North Kingstown, do you know where the Dave's Market is and the Kohl's? It's right there, right across from the Kohl's parking lot. It's going to be a fabulous time. This is our 7th year doing it, and we are going to have a blast. We are super grateful to Amy Petrino's team, as well as Encompass Health, for being our sponsors for the event and enabling us to make this event free for everyone from the community who's coming. So I look forward to seeing you all there. Give me a hug, say hi. I would really love that. Anyway, I'm glad that you all joined me today. I look forward to seeing you all again next week. In the meantime, be well and be kind.